The main thing is layers. I definitely think pack more socks and don't scrimp on the sock packing.
Yeah.
Because after a long day of hiking, you want a fresh pair of socks.
Yeah, 100%. One thing that I thought was a top tip for packing is you want your raincoat, but you also want one of those disposable, like waterproof coats as well, because although you're keeping your clothes all dry when it rains, your bag still gets wet. So you wear the coat, then the bag, and then the waterproof on top as well.
Also, I think tissues or like toilet roll is really important.
Yeah, baby wipes.
Yeah, for a quick wash in the morning, you're going to have on your showers.
Sweets, just to give you a bit of energy on the way up. If the altitude's getting you a little bit, then a quick sweet helps a lot. But you can get a few snacks along the way on the first 2 days.
Yeah.
There's little stalls with kind of local people selling Powerade, Cokes, sweets and things. So that's really handy.
Yeah.
You've already eaten all your snacks. So we met our group in Cuzco, and you don't take your big backpack on the Inca Trail, but you're allowed 5 kilos, which the porters carry for you, and you leave the rest of your things in the hotel in Cuzco. You think 5 kilos is a lot, but when you're hiring your sleeping bag as well, that takes up about 3 kilos.
Yeah.
So you've only got about 2 kilos to play with. So that's why lightweight clothing is really, really important.
You don't need to pack your sleeping bag.
Yeah.
You can hire that.
Yeah.
People hire walking pole. Then when you get to camp, they have the tents put up for you.
Yeah.
You'll have a sleeping mat and then you unpack your sleeping bag for you, so you don't need to worry about doing that.
Yeah.
There's a good number of guides for the amount of people that there are. So like you'd have like a guide at the front, but then if there was somebody that was a little bit slower, they had a guide at the back as well. So you didn't feel like you were constantly having to wait for people. You felt like there was a lot of help at hand when you were on a tour.
Yeah, so they only let a certain amount of people on the Inca Trail per day, and you have to have a permit to do the hike. There's a lot more porters than there are tourists, and you do need to make room for them to come past you. The porters, they're allowed to carry, I think, up to 20 kilos per person. That's their limit. They can't carry any more. It's quite emotional, really, because you think, oh, I've just trekked 40 odd kilometres over, the past 3 or 4 days. And at the start, you're all kind of raring to go. And then there's parts, particularly on day 2, when you're ascending so high, where you think, what am I doing? Blown away by seeing Machu Picchu for the first time. And it was the first time in 4 days that we'd seen sunlight, and it was just perfect. And you arrive quite early in the morning. So on the last day, you have to get up really early. And you arrive to Machu Picchu about 8:30, I think.
Yeah. I think as well, the porters and the guides really try to lower your expectations, because there's a lot of people that just don't actually get to see Machu Picchu, because there's a chance that you'll get the clouds in. But I think even if the clouds are there, the achievement of getting to the sun gate is so good that then isn't as important as you think it is. My top tip would definitely be invest in the walking poles, hire them. I have done quite a bit of hiking and I thought that I could do it without the poles. Yeah. But it's the fact that you're ascending and you're descending quite quickly. Yeah. So like on the way up you feel okay, but coming down, poles are really good to help you.
I think mine is don't wear brand new walking shoes or walking boots for your first time on the Inca Trail. Wear them in and wear ones that you feel comfortable in.
It's also very important to consider the time of year that you're going. It's closed for about a month in February time, because they want to give the ground a bit of a break from the tourists that come through. Yeah. I went in September, which is considered, I think, the shoulder season, but it was really good. The temperature was good. So I think those kind of shoulder seasons, September, October, and then like April, May are considered some of the best times to go.
I went in March. It was quite rainy, which obviously made the hike quite slippery at times. So yeah, I agree. The shoulder seasons, probably April, May, September, October, are the perfect time. So you sleep in a tent for 3 nights. You're most likely to be sharing with someone unless you book one for yourself. You'll have a mat to sleep on, no pillow unless you bring one yourself, and a sleeping bag that you'll hire, which will all be laid out for you. You arrive at mid-afternoon at the campsite. You have an hour or 2 to relax before dinner. And then the porters have set up a tent, like a marquee, and there's table, chairs, you all sit in a long line and have your dinner. And then after that, it is early bedtime to wake up pretty early the next day. You set off from Ollantaytambo Tambo and drive for about an hour to pick up your permit. You're all full of energy at the start, getting a picture by the nice group photo. Then you start the trek. It's all very flat at the start, and then it starts to ascend a little bit, and then it's quite an early finish on the first day. You do reach the campsite about 2.
Day 2 is where it does ramp it up. You go to Dead Woman's Pass, which is where you basically climb about 1,000 meters. I think that's the day that tests you the most, just because it's such a quick climb. But then day 3 is another fairly long day. You kind of go a bit further down the other side, I guess, of the trek that you're doing. I found that day quite interesting. You discover these really cool locations that are in like the middle of nowhere and that you think not that many people have seen. No, you can only see them on the trek. But again, it's a very like early start and a very early finish on day 3.
Yeah. And then day 4 is a very, very early start because
pre-dawn.
Yes, because the porters have got to pack up all the tents and essentially run down to the train station in Aguas Calientes and get the first train back into Ollantaytambo. So you essentially get up quite early, and then the gates, the final checkpoint to get into the final part of the Inca Trail, opens at 5. And then you're walking for about an hour and a half, and then you climb up some bricks and get to the Sun Gate, and that's the first glimpse that you get of Machu Picchu. And then you get the bus down to Aguas Calientes, and then you'll have a nice
celebratory lunch.
Yes, with a cocktail.
I'd say one of the things that surprised me the most was how good the food was.
Yeah.
Like these porters are getting there before you, prepping these amazing meals with very limited equipment.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to be as wowed by actually what the walks are. You turn a corner and it'd just be these amazing ruins that come from out of nowhere. It's just, and the history was really impressive as well.
Yeah, you just think you're walking to Machu Picchu, but actually there's so much else to see along the way. Cusco is quite high above sea level, so we would recommend maybe 3 or 4 days, ideally, before starting the trek.
You want to give yourself a good chance of like not getting altitude sickness, because it can affect people in different ways. The guides are really good at giving you tips to ensure that you're avoiding altitude sickness as much as you can.
Yeah.
But I actually love Cusco. I thought it was a really good location.
There's so many places if you need to get last minute supplies, trek. Afterwards, we booked a massage.
Yeah.
There's loads of places that you can just like spas and where you can relax.
Yeah, nice restaurants and nice rooftop bars as well.
Yeah.